In today's video, we're going to be exploring building a replica of Mentor Cruise. Now, the idea is that I'm going to be on my bubble editor. I'm going to be trying to create this filtering search page, and I'm going to try and do it under the time that we've allotted for this video. And the idea is that through this video, you can have like a walkthrough of me building a very common requested feature, which is building a marketplace filtering system, right? So I'm going to go through all of that. So a couple of things that we're not going to do. We're not going to do this top mentor. We are not doing this only three spots left. So I'm just going to have this background. We'll have the image and all this information. You have the price. Of course, it's just the page itself. It's not like you'll be able to view profile, things like that. And yeah, so I'm just adding a couple of these skills, not all of them, and it's only going to be for desktop view, right? So we'll be replicating this in my bubble application. Secondly, I've gone ahead to add a couple of data points. So, like for example, I've added a few profiles. I've added option sets, job titles, companies, things like that, skills. I've also added data type information for users, just so that it will make it faster. I can just go ahead and concentrate on the build itself. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on this header, right? So let's add, you know, a group. So let me just call this. So let's look at it again. We can call this group. Let's call this group column, group overall. I'll just give it a pixels of 40, 40. And the reason why is that if I look at this, I can see all the way to the end. Both sides have like this 40, 40 pixels kind of. I think this one is a bit shorter, but I can work with 40. I just expand, fit height to content on check so that it goes all the way down. So this is my group overall. Next up, I want to add a header. So I'm just going to put this here. I'll call this group header. Most of the times when I'm building headers, of course, you like to use a reusable because you'll be using that header across your application multiple times. But since I'm just building this page, I'm just going to use this once. So I'm just going to call that group header. And I can see on this group header, so you have the top header, you have the bottom header. So maybe I say the group top header, and then you have the group bottom header. Next thing that I want to do is add, an image element. We can play around the, height of it later. So I can just call this image logo and maybe make this 200 pixels and allow it to extend all the way down. Can have a minimum height, really doesn't matter. Can remove it, doesn't matter. And let's see if I can quickly upload, an image here. So I called the app MentorCruise. It's really interesting. Yeah. So there we have it. Logo is okay, but it's not as beautiful as I would have liked it to be, but it's fine. Next thing is that we have, you know, okay. So I mean, you can really play around this and see, keep aspect ratio, make this center. So we just bring this down to the middle so that it's center aligned and it's to the left. So it looks better now. So next I want to add, create like this kind of search functionality. So I would get um, an icon first, just paste it there quickly. Uh, First of all, let's make this row, this Let's make this, a row element so that it's side by side, previous. We can spread it from left to right for now. We'll work on that later. Let's make this 25 by 25. Move the padding quickly. And then this will be a search bar. Another thing is that I didn't really configure the colors. So I'll just work with colors I already have in my head. So this will be E4, 6 E's. So let's say C7, 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 C7. Okay, I would have to manage that for now. Next, I will get an input element. Just draw it in there. Then maybe 200. 35 is fine here. Let's look at it again. So we have, it just says search. So we can replace this with the letter search. And maybe make this 16 pixels. 40 is better. Now I'll just remove. So what I'm going to do here, I'll remove the border because I don't want it to have any border around it. And yeah. And then last I'll just create another icon, call this close. Okay, so let's put all the icons together in a row container. Looks nice. Give it a maximum width of 200 pixels and then 10 pixels by the side in terms of maybe 300. And then I would like to add a margin of 10 by the left, 10 by the right. Give it a roundness of 10 and a border of all ease. Yeah. I mean, the icons could be bolder if you wanted to, but we'll manage that for now. Maybe we can extend this a bit. Let's make it 400. Yeah. Okay. Next, we have these icons here. So I'm just going to quickly create those. Have a text element. Says for business. So this is an icon facing down. We can use this. This is the black 3. So I'll group this in a row element quickly. Give it a gap spacing of about 5 pixels. Bring this here. Pull this down. Sorry. And I think this comes before the other one. For businesses, it seems, not for business. Next, we have a button element there. which says browse all mentors. Then it has a roundness of, let's just make that roundness about 10. I remove all of this. We'll change the primary color later to something a bit less bright, maybe like a teal, you know, something like that. Center align all of this. And then we have just another text which says dashboard. Dashboard. Okay. So we group all these elements in a row column and give it a gap spacing of about 10 pixels, maybe 20. And then we also have a gap spacing of about 20 here too. So I'm just going to increase the screen size because I feel the screen size could be wider than it is, so that we have a bit of space to 1280. Yeah, so now we can at least see what it looks like on a proper screen size. I'm just going to add a quick border here with all threes, ease, solid, to be all ease. So if you look at this, it's looking somewhat like this, what we have here. And I know it says login dashboard. So that could be login or dashboard depending on what state the person is in. I want to reduce this from 10 to 5. So I think 5 is just too much. Yeah. And then maybe make this like a darker gray. So let's go with E9ECF. All right. So next we have this other border beneath it. So this is just the repeating group of here, a repeating group of elements. So I can just copy and paste this again. So that will fall directly on that. And I'll grab a repeating group, paste it inside somewhere, delete all of this, then delete this as well. And then so this would, I would uncheck this, I'll also uncheck this, and then, let that extend from one side to the other. But I would like for this to be wrapped horizontally, and then the maximum height here would be 50. Minimum width is minimum height of row 50 pixels is fine. Cap spacing 20 is fine. There's not going to be need for it to extend to the bottom. And then I'll just grab a text element here. First of all, let's remove this solidness here. And we can configure this quickly. So it's going to be an option set, like I said, I configured option sets earlier. So this will be mentor types, and we get all mentor types. So I'll paste the first one in there, and this would be current sales mentor types display. And I can say engineering mentors as an example. Now I would like to group these elements in a group. Container alignment, good. I'll give it a padding of 10, 10 by the side, and then 5. But then I can just say that when this element is current cells, this group is hovered. I want to have a background color. The background color here would be all ease. So if I see what it looks like, it would look like this, which I think is pretty nice. Um, let's remove this. Okay. At this stage, we could preview our app to see what it looks like. So you can see that we have it extending all the way. Now, I'll just remove this bottom style from it here. None. Okay. So the next thing that we want to do is now we want to configure, what we have here underneath, which is the um, yeah, we want to configure the filtering pages. So let's start with getting a group in here. And drop the group here. So this will be group filter and results. You can name it anything you want, and it would. I'll check this or uncheck this, and it's going to be a row because we're going to have, you know, filtering to the left and filtering to the right. So this is 20 pixels. Okay, so I'm going to get a group. I can call this. This will be the group on the right. Flat color. Then I'll get a floating group as well. So this doesn't float like the way, so it's gonna be, so we're gonna have group left and group right. Group left will be the filter, while group right would be the yeah, the normal where the results would be. So this would have a maximum width of 300, and there would be a big gap spacing of 40 pixels of the column. Okay. Then I'll ensure that this extends from top to bottom, and this also extends from top to bottom. Okay. I mean, but tutorial is taking a bit of time, so we're going to try and speed things up a little bit. So first of all, this does not necessarily have to be so wide in terms of the width. So let's reduce that a little bit, and let's remove this, you know, from the top and from the bottom quickly. Next, I'm just going to grab this search bar, put it inside, and maybe give it a padding of 20 pixels. Then you'll be able to search for things there, and then maybe join it with a text element. Sorry. And okay, we know what, we're going to skip this so that we don't put the results there. Well, I think it's a good idea. Let's put the result there. So let's just say 124 mentors found. Okay. So this would be grouped together, grouped in a column. Column would have a gap spacing of 10 pixels. And to extend from one side of the page to the other. Lastly, we're gonna increase this to 50 pixels, so it's just a bit bigger. And then we need to give this, it's important that we give this, solid. Okay, I'll just add the gap spacing here very quickly, just to make our work easier. Next on the spectrum is the word, we have skills. And then here, 700 bold. I would add the, so I'm not using search bars for this. I'm just going to use a repeating group to add those informations. But first of all, let's grab an icon element here. Let's just paste it. So this would be, you know what? Let's grab it like this. Sorry. Okay. So this would be a box, and I'll just grab a text element here, paste it in. This would be, I can just call this engineering, to change later. And then the last one, we're just going to have this, we call this 62. And then we'll give this a max width of 20. And fit with content. Yeah, we can fit with the content for this one. Let me remove this, then make that one extend. And I'll just extend this by maybe like 100 pixels because it's looking too snug there. I'll remove the border. This doesn't really matter. and I'll group the elements in a group and replace that group with another element. So call this RG skills. Then so let's replace it because it's a group right now, so we have to replace it with a repeating group, and then that extends, and then I can now then configure this to be skills, all skills, remove this, put this at 20, um, remove this as well. That's okay. And can configure this to be, oops, we haven't configured the group in here to say that this is a skill as the current cell skill. So then this will be configured to the current cell skills, parent group skills display, right? Maybe we'll leave out the count for now because I think that's unnecessary. And so what do we want to do here? We want that when this, somebody clicks on this, it filters, it kind of filters, but then it also like it adds to, um, it sends that data as a list, formatted as text um, to the page, right? So that if that page is refreshed, I mean, we could add it as a custom state, but that would be completely and totally different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these two things in a column, the RJ skills and this, and just group them together as a column. I would uncheck fit with content. I'll give the column a 20 pixels gap spacing, and I'll call this group skill parent, PAR. Then I can copy and paste this and call this group job titles. Okay, so where do we have job titles here? Okay, so the rest is pretty straightforward. Parent groups, job titles. That's great. And then the last one, we have skills, we have job titles, and then I think we have companies. So then we just need to configure companies as well. And so we call these companies. And then you can see that our app is coming alive very quickly. That's the power of Bubble. When you're able to build something very quickly from scratch, companies, all companies, this will be companies, current sales companies, and that's it. So now let's configure this right hand side of things, right? So here you have the name. We're not working with this. You have um, the headline, like the description of what they're working, and I think that's the job title, and then the company, and then you have like the headline, and then like review. I think I might leave out review because that might be something But let's see if we can configure everything. Then you have like a description, but then ends on like the third line, and then you have you know details about your skill set, and then you have starting from the month and everything. So let's configure this quickly. First of all, grab a group. We'll paste that group inside here. Call this group mentor. It's okay for it to be called group mentor. Remove this. So let's just look at it again quickly. Okay, it's fine. No, it's not. So I want to kind of eliminate this and make this 20 pixels. So let's just give this a cap spacing of 20 pixels inside there and check fit with content. Okay. So initially it's kind of like a row column because you have row left and row right. So on row left we have an image. So I'll grab an image here, and this looks okay to 250. That looks okay. And then I'll grab another group. Let's draw it there quickly. I'll give it gap spacing of 20 pixels. It should be bigger, but right now I'm just gonna work with 12. Remove the fit with the content. Can name it anything you want right now, but for now I'm not really dealing with that. I'll just put this at 300 so that I can see what's inside there. Now I'll just grab this, put this here. Um, so I can configure this to say that this is a mentor. I'm the kind of it's actually a user, and it is. Let's not configure that yet. So we have parent groups users profile image. Can process with IMGX, but I think Bubble is pretty good with this, so we don't really necessarily have to be doing all this again. But old habits user parent groups user. So so here, I mean, I configure this to full name because I was trying to save time on the development. Just increase that to this thing. Then I'm going to make this column with 10 pixels break. Underneath it, we have the parent groups job titles, display, and then it's going to be at parent groups users company display. Let's bring down to 16, make it regular, copy and paste. So here is going to be parent groups headline. Can give it a nice color, you know, to be our main colors. Underneath that, I would have the parent group's description, which would be if we can make it lighter. Let's make it 400, but then let's make it a slightly gray. Next, we have a repeating group. I'll just grab the one that we have here and use it. Paste it here. So here we have skills. We have the parent groups users skills, and here is going to be skills. And in here, the parent group skills display perfect. Can bring this down to 40, which it already is in 40 minimum height. Maybe we'll make it 0, but then Give it a padding of 10 on the top, 10 on the bottom. Too much. Maybe 5 on top, 5 at the bottom. And then we make sure that the background is F5, 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 F5. And the roundness is 20 pixels. Yeah, and that looks good, really. Here, I'm just going to give us a margin of 20 from the top. I'll grab this element again, last, put a US sign, parent groups users, price. Okay, par, month. Phew. And this is okay at 240, but then I'm just going to reduce this per month to not be so big. Yeah, that's fine. And then that would go along with the button so that two of them can be at the same. I'm just going to call, let's just put slash $240 per month so that we have an idea of how it looks. Okay. Then here you have view profile. Forty. Remove the roundness from 10 to 5. Let's bring it down. And this description, let's give it a max height of, let's just say 40. Max height cement. And then everything here should have 20 pixels gap spacing. Okay. Last thing we need to do for our configuration is group these elements in a column container. It can be column or whatever. Check fit width, fit height. Something is wrong. Let's call this RG users. Okay. Place this element type with a repeating group. Wow. So we're having, you know, let's go back again. So here we have this like this. let's use fit title content here. And okay, so let's try it again. Good. So we should not have any issues again, I hope. RG users, please the element type, fitting group. There we go. So I'm just going to immediately from now put this at 20. And this will just be do is remove all of this first. User, do a search for all users. So normally we do a filtering system that the users that are equals to mentor, but this is already, I mean, the list is already filtered that way. So now I'm just going to give this a roundness of 20, add a border style if all three is around. And let's say that this is tied to the current sales user. So if we preview this now, I know we've done a couple of things here. I'm guessing our privacy settings will not allow us view. So let's delete this privacy settings and try again. Okay, so we have profiles showing up. Let me remove the debugger so we can see it clearly. We have some profiles showing up, you know. So we need to make some adjustments, but you can see that it is looking quite similar to what we have here. You have the skills, founders. We've not yet configured it to do the filtering, which we would have to do that in another video, right? So maybe we'll make those changes and do the filtering and everything in another video. But in this video, we just wanted to just create the architecture of it, more or less. So one of the things I want to do is I want to eliminate this top padding and the bottom padding as well, right? And also this should be aligned to top. Let's see if we stretch this out, if it would look any much different than what we have here. Process with IMJX, resize the fit element drop cut. So let's stretch. Let's see what it looks like now. Yep, it's not looking good at all. Let's try zoom. I mean, most of the times I have to try different approaches to see the one that really captures the way. So zoom is better. Zoom is a whole lot better. I think it just really comes down to the picture. Helps if the picture is centralized, and that also I want to see. I'll try rescale again, and I want to see if I can put a bit of roundness there. And also before we refresh again, let's configure this group skills to have a column gap spacing of 20 pixels so that it looks nice as we refresh. Oh, so I think the best is still zoom. Zoom still seems to capture what we want. bring this down to 14 pixels. Okay, there we go. So it's looking very, very nice. I mean, I think it's really coming out there. So this is something like, of course, with design, if you work on it 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, you probably come out with something that you really, really enjoy as a, you know, as a color. Maybe I can change the color here from what we have. So let's go into styles. Let's change the style variable from this to, let's use a much more, a blue that feels a bit more like teal. And yeah, okay. So that brings us to the end of this part one for this mentor choose tutorial. Like you can see, it's yeah, but not yet here, but it's getting closer. You have that hover button highlight over there. You can search, and then of course this will not show on default. It will only show once a search is done, and then you have the browse mentors dashboard. Able to search for this. Then also see profile, see the information. So I can see that okay, Ana Santos is a senior software engineer at Amazon. This is his headline. This is his description. You know, um, Maybe we reduce this because I feel like it's extending too much to the, or we can make it just 20 pixels. But let's test how this looks. Yeah, this looks better. And then this description here that is at 40, max 40 is too much. Let's just make it 100. Okay. Yeah, so we can see more about them, more about the information, their pricing, $400 per month, and we can have a conversation with them. And also here we could, you know, configure the filtering, right? So that brings us to the end of this video. Unfortunately, in this series, I wasn't able to get into the filtering, aspect where you click on a filter and then that filters the page. But that's something that I'll be glad to touch on in another video. So I hope this video was valuable and you learned a lot. So if you would like to build a marketplace, right? If you're considering building a marketplace, maybe it's for jobs or for like something like this, mentors or a travel marketplace or anything like that, you can reach out to me, right? You can just send me a message. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile is, if I go to my LinkedIn, it's here. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can also, um, just send me a message on YouTube. Or the best way would be to book a call, a calendar on my calendar, and we'll be able to discuss your project clearly, right? So I work specifically with Bubble, ensuring that I build, tailor-tailored applications that are extremely mobile friendly, and I mean they just work and they are excellent. So if this sounds like something that you'd like to do, you can go ahead to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to help you with building your own marketplace on Bubble. So I hope you found tremendous value in this marketplace series, and I hope to do this more and more, consistently every week, so that you have a library of marketplaces in which I've worked on, and you can go through and have a proper idea of how marketplaces work. So I hope you had fun going through this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.